joyful hello to all of you. My name is Minku Bhutar, founder of the Circle of Joy that brings you self-mastery programs and retreats. It gives me great joy to bring to you this season's talk show, a series of interviews on choosing joy, secrets, and stories from all over the world. It is my diligent attempt to show you that joy is not a hockey-pocky, frivolous concept, but a discipline, a way of life much needed. If you want to be resilient, radiant, and unstoppable like a runaway train. So subscribe to my channel so that you can tap into the wisdom of people from all over the world. I will see you there.
Hello, everyone, to all the lovely souls in different parts of the world. And as Lao Tzu said, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, and while loving someone deeply gives you courage. So whether you are in a mushy, magical new relationship like Pocahontas, who said to her lover, she said, "I'd rather die tomorrow than live 100 years without knowing you," or even if you are a long-time couple, this is one episode I promise you will resonate with. Namaste, my name is Minku Bhuta, your host from India, and I'm delighted to welcome you back all for the 22nd episode of this talk show. Now, if you want to catch the wisdom of my speakers on the 1st and 15th of each month, like, subscribe, press the cute bell icon on my YouTube channel where I host these episodes. Simple. A little about my guest speakers today. That's right, you heard the S. For the first time since we intercepted this talk show on the 1st September 2021, I have with me a power couple. Please join me to welcome the power couple with whom I have had warm interchanges before today, all the way from Iowa, USA, Mariah and Byron Edgington. Warm welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And did I pronounce that right? It's Edgington.
It's one of those challenging names,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's kind of a soft G, Edgington, yeah. But
Edgington. Yeah,
yeah.
lovely. Wonderful. Warm welcome and congratulations on the success of your most recent book, Journey Well, You Are More Than Enough.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, how's
Thank
that
you.
going?
It's being very well received. We are just really gratified
There we go.
that, and it, I guess, Minku, what it's doing is it is doing what we had hoped.
Mhm.
And we haven't had a lot of sales yet, but the people who have read our book, they're taking a lot of value from it. We're helping a lot of people with it, and that's all we decided. That's all we
Yeah.
hope to do. So yeah,
Yeah, wonderful. And I know that you both come from such a heartful space, and it will land, the learnings, the wisdom will land on the ears that are meant to hear it, I guess. And the universe has ears, so it will go where it's meant to be. Now, today, before we go into any deeper reflections on relationships, please allow me to introduce you to our global audience. I'll start with you, Maria. Maria, you transitioned to mindset coaching after being retired from being a critical care and emergency nurse, right? And then in your coaching, you use wonderful tools like awareness and that helps decision making, holistic practices like Reiki, aromatherapy, breathing techniques, and guided meditations. And you find these tools, from what I was reading, to be very, very helpful in replacing self-doubts with self-worth, compassion, kindness, gratitude. And you help clients through a beautiful, heartful space to have a lifelong growth in abundance and prosperity and become the amazing people they always knew within. That is so wonderful, Maria. Thank you for being here. And I resonate when you say, what is it that you said? Learn how to harness the power of words you tell yourself, right? Is that what you said?
It's so true. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and you advocate being your own strongest advocate. So I resonate with that. So thank you. A little bit about Byron now. Well, he's a high flyer. What can we say? Literally, literally, because he's trained to be a helicopter pilot in the US Army for, was that 40 years, Byron?
40 plus years, yeah.
Wow. Uh,
Mhm.
it's a great profession. I'm a pilot's daughter as well, and I know how and what it feels like every time you're in that machine and your family is waiting on the other side. Um, and Byron, from what I read about you, and I do a lot of research on my speakers, you're an incredibly self-motivating, motivated person. You're a shining inspiration. You actually returned to college to finish your bachelor's degree in English and creative writing at the age of 63. That's amazing.
I had the perfect cheerleader. Okay.
All right. Okay. Amazing. That's why we are doing this conversation together on the topic of cozy spaces. Now, Byron, you're also an owner, editor, author. You've had a lot of success in publishing, writing, in the aviation and the aerospace industry. You have such a beautiful several books behind you, The Sky Behind Me, a memoir of flying in life, a Vietnam anthem, and I think you have a beautiful book, what is it, the post-flight and old pilots notes. That was an amazing best-selling book in aviation, right?
That's right, Old Pilot's Logbook. Yeah, it's mostly memoir, but it's pretty much self-help for young people, especially young women who want to
Mhm.
fly for a living. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's so
Thank
awesome. We've actually in India, Byron, I have to share this with you. This seems to be the new profession for loads of young girls.
you.
So this I totally relate to. And of course, you got the prestigious Bailey Prize for prose given by the Swedenborg Foundation Press.
Right.
So bravo.
Thank you. Thank
And of course, together, Maria, you and Byron have co-authored Journey Well, You Are More Than Enough, which we talked about, to rediscover your passion, purpose, and love for yourself. So welcome to you, such a powerful power couple. Welcome to this thought-provoking questions on relationships. And I couldn't think of a better duo to be here. So Maria, if you're okay with it, I'd like to start with a small icebreaker for you.
Sure.
I'm going to take you to a small nostalgic trip about you and Byron when you got together. So I'm curious, what's the first thing you noticed and found attractive in Byron?
Well, Byron and I were friends for many years before
Uh-huh.
we actually became a couple. And one thing that I can point to is his kindness.
Wow.
And seeing a, seeing that kind of compassion and devotion and love in a man was unfamiliar to me actually, Minku. And so when I saw that kindness in, and as well, he was a military person,
Mm.
and that was kind of a contradiction in my brain. I had to reconcile, wow, you can have both. And I'm very fortunate because he is one of the kindest people I know.
That is just so sweet. I think there is something so lethal and attractive about a guy in a uniform, and then having that very nice, compassionate, sensitive part. I think it's a combination. So I know, Maria, what you're saying. Now, this one's for you, Byron. What's the most attractive thing about Maria over the years that's kept you glued to her till today? Let's take it from there and today where you are.
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind, I mean, a lot of people think when we say it was her beauty, they automatically think it's physical beauty.
Uh,
But I understood from a long time ago that this is a beautiful person inside and out. And
wow.
Mariah is one of these people that she's very honest,
Hmm.
she's very straightforward, and she's very, very insightful. She understands
Mm.
human nature very, very well, and as far as I could tell, she was perfectly suited
Mhm.
to her career as a nurse.
I see that every time I
Mhm.
read what Maria writes, or we have a conversation. I totally see that. Maria is such a beautiful soul. So thank you for that honesty, both of you. What a wonderful trail back into when you started to get to know each other. Now let's take this a notch deeper, shall we? And allow me to take this conversation to a little romantic aspect of relationship. Now, how you you two have been married how long?
We've been together forever.
Yeah.
I love that, many lifetimes, as Brian Weiss would say.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we enjoy our relationship so much that we celebrate every month.
Yes.
And so yesterday was 266 months
That's right.
that we've been married,
Yeah.
and we were together before that. And it translates to a little over 22 years.
Oh, bless you both, and thank you for sharing that. I'm sure we have a lot of fraternity and tribe that's common to us, and I'm sure this is news to a lot of them. So thank you for sharing that. Would you also say that you're best friends, like you said that before? Because when I was doing a research, I have to share this with you. I came across a compilation of surveys by psychologists, and apparently when they ask what are you looking for in a soulmate, 85% people say they're looking for a partner who is my best friend. So my question to both of you, how important is it for a good relationship to also have good friendship? How important is it?
It's very important. It's one of the most important parts is knowing that ebb and flow. We've all had relationships with other people
Mhm.
where you felt like you could answer their sentence, finish a question, do something that
Yes.
seems unusual, but you know that person so well that you're just absolutely comfortable with that. I see you pointing. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think that
Yeah.
is just imperative that
Yes.
friendship is a
Yeah.
basis.
How
Yes. Friendship
beautiful.
is. Yes. And
Yeah.
the other thing I would add to that, Minku, is that it has a great deal to do with respect
Mm.
and just seeing the other person as a valuable human being all by
Yes.
herself. Yeah, and let me brag about my dear sweet spouse here for just a moment.
I'm be getting mushy. Okay. Over
No,
to you.
no, I have to tell your listeners and you,
Yeah.
Mariah has, when we talk about doing a lot of hard work to become the best you in Journey Well, You Are More Than Enough. We talk about that in almost every chapter. We mention
Mhm.
something that you have to do the work to get to be the become the best you there is.
Mm.
And Mariah has really worked hard over the years to become this wonderful, beautiful, insightful person she is. She's done a lot of work, and I'm very, very proud of her.
Thank you.
Oh, that is so sweet. I think this respect you talk about, the compassion, and I think this vulnerability that I'm sensing between the two of you, and I'm sure it takes a lot of effective communication, right? I mean, these are the ingredients for friendship, and then if you're looking at romantic relationships, all the more so, right? So also I find, and I'm sure you find that Maria and Byron, both of you, because you work with relationships and you work with clients to, bring in effective worlds to them. So let's look at the other side of the coin. Now, COVID has created a lot of strain in relationships, right? Too many confined spaces, maybe lack of communication. So, what tips would you, as a power couple, give to people who are trying to revive a relationship post COVID?
Oh, that's a really good question, Minku.
Mhm.
One thing that I
Right.
can point to is gratitude and appreciation.
Mm.
That would be a primary thing when we look, first of all, at ourselves, because
Mm.
oftentimes we're really critical of ourselves. And so if we're critical of ourselves, then we sometimes feel it's okay that other people are critical of us too.
Mhm.
And that's just not the case. I am really thoughtful on how another person may be considering themselves. And so when Byron has a day where he's not feeling up, I can sense that as
Yeah.
well. And that to me signals me to say, hey, how are you doing? Or what can I do for you? What is going to benefit you? Because I know it will benefit me as well.
Mm. Yes, he will bring the calm back to that togetherness, that space. Oh, that's beautiful. So empathy, sensitivity, right? Is that what you're saying, Maria?
Yeah, and I would add to that. I would say, and this is very difficult for men, at least in
Mhm.
our culture,
Mm.
and I suspect it is probably true for men worldwide.
Mhm.
It's very difficult for us to be vulnerable,
Yes.
to let go and let other people, especially someone who's so close to us, see us at times when we're just not our best and
Yeah.
we're in pain and
Mm.
we have emotional or physical things going on that we are hesitant to share with other people. That's a very difficult thing for men and some women too.
Right,
But
right.
that really cements a relationship when you just allow yourself,
Mhm.
and one of the things that I feel people don't quite understand is that allowing someone else to care for you and to take care of you and to do things for you is one of the best ways you can have to show them that you love them, is to
Wow.
allow them to be the persons they want to be.
That is incredibly quite a new perspective because you're right. Even a small thing like peeling an orange because they don't like to do it, right?
Well, that's a good
Yeah.
example.
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple every time, very close friends of ours, and every time we've gone out for dinner, she actually takes the bone, debones the meat for her husband. Yeah, especially the fish, which comes with a lot of bones. And sometimes, initially when we didn't understand the pleasure of doing something for someone and the other person allowing so beautifully what you said, Byron,
Oh,
to happen, right? And then we understood it's really not that he's spoiled, not that he's controlling. It's just that she wants to do it and he's happy to give her that happiness. It's sweet.
a great example.
Yeah,
I like that. That's
yeah, great.
Yeah, so it just came to my mind. Another observation, and I just want to know if you resonate. Sometimes, sitting in a beautiful restaurant, and as an onlooker, I observe, say, a couple having a beautiful candlelight dinner. Then all of a sudden, I go like, "Oh, what a nice couple!" And then out comes their phones, and they're on their WhatsApp and to other people, and it really makes me pause and wonder, are they happy? And then the inevitable, am I happy in my relationship? So do you both, Marie and Byron, do you have these discussions? How important is it to check in with each other?
yeah. It is important to check in with each other. And one thing that we bring up in Journey Well You're More Than Enough is
Mm.
that we each have a responsibility first to ourselves so that we can keep our own cup full and then that overflows to other people. Now, in your example of going out for a romantic dinner and then getting
Mhm.
on your phone,
I see that. I see that. Not
Yeah,
me, but I look at couples doing that.
it does. It brings something up in you that first thing you think of is, oh goodness, they look like they were to be out together, and then they shared that moment with other people. So for me, I'd have to stop and look at that and think to myself,
Mm.
are they first of all happy, and what does happiness look like for them?
Mm.
And
mhm,
looking at it through that lens, then I can let go of the judgment I might have just put onto them and bring it back, just like you said. Am I happy? Well, happiness to me looks like devoting a little more attention to my spouse when I'm with them and in present time. But that might not be everybody's happiness. So allowing others to be how they may be
Mm,
is how I've become more aware of my own emotions and my
mm,
own ability to be accepting
mm,
and understanding of other people as well as my own self.
mm. Interesting. Byron, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a detour here and
Yeah.
say that to me personally, just because you can't tell that I have hearing aids in, but I spent more than 45 years around helicopters. And
Mm,
so I don't hear very well.
right.
And so what makes me happy is one of Mariah's primary traits, one of her best abilities is she listens. And I really need that, not just because of my technical challenges, but because I have a manner of speaking that's very precise. I'm very meticulous in my
Right.
speech. And so a lot of people have a tendency to just jump in and interrupt me.
Mm,
And Mariah doesn't do that. She listens very, very well. And that makes me happy.
that
And
is
so, yeah.
that is so sweet. So I love that. I think brevity, brevity in a conversation makes it very concise and crisp, and I think that's perfectly okay, Byron. So Maria, do you believe that it's okay to compromise your happiness for the success of the relationship? How do you feel about that?
That is an excellent question.
Hmm.
I believe when you're in a relationship, the compromises that you need to make in and around it can be viewed in a different way other than thinking of it, oh, this is a compromise and he wins and I lose, or she wins and he loses. I believe that relationships, any kind of relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship or just a partnership,
Right.
it's based on ebb and flow. And once we get really familiar and comfortable with another person, it increases your ability to do that dance, to see each other as a real whole person. They
Hmm.
can be unique in themselves, or
Right.
they can be together with you. And that is what makes that dance come together a little bit easier and better by understanding that we're each a single person
Yeah.
and have responsibility to ourselves.
Hmm.
And then we go on and put that together.
That's interesting. I love that, the dance. Yeah. And I think in the dance, I would throw in a dash of honesty. I think when you're looking at not, you're saying not to compromise your happiness and just allowing the other person to be. Byron, do you think honesty is that a foundation of relationship, or is there something like called a white lie, or is ugly truth sometimes necessary so you don't hurt the other person? What do you think, Byron?
That's an excellent question. And a lot of people wrestle with this, I think.
I think so.
But I don't know that we can ever be entirely 100% honest in what we talk about and what we tell people.
Mm,
I think it's a great aspiration,
mm,
and I think once we've been in a loving long-term relationship for a certain amount of time, I think we know what is needed, what we need and must share in order to maintain the equilibrium in the relationship. And you mentioned the idea of happiness and how important that is.
yeah.
I think honesty does contribute to that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Absolutely.
also think that one of the things we need to be aware of in any long-term relationship is that happiness will come and go.
Mm,
It's not a realistic expectation that we're going to be just ecstatically happy every day. That's not
mm,
realistic.
yeah. Yeah.
But but if we know that the long-term relationship, we're going to be happy most of the time,
Mm,
that's a wonderful thing. And as we said at the beginning of the show too, we are very aware of each other's moods
Mm.
and what's going on with the other person. And that really contributes to the happiness factor, if you will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, and then perhaps, maybe a lot of dinner conversations, a lot of pillow talks, I think candid discussions. I think authentic discussions is probably what comes to my mind. And isn't it amazing, though, guys, that, couples go through weeks and months and years of without diving and connecting to our value system. I find that there is no proper conversation happening, and you're just saying, a deep, authentic, unadulterated conversation is important. So, what can you tell our beautiful listeners? What are the other essential qualities that couples can bring for solidarity and longevity? What do you think? What would you like to share?
I think that one thing, we bring this up in the book,
Mhm.
that is, if you don't know your core values, you cannot live by your core values. And so each of us has a responsibility first to ourselves of knowing what that is, and then join one, if a relationship and you want it to last, you need to have similar values or it's not going to.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
when people aren't even aware of what their values are, they can't live by them.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think one of the first, you mentioned honesty.
Mm.
And I think if you ask most couples, most people, individuals even,
Mm.
that will probably be first on their list. It certainly is on ours.
Transparency.
Transparency is right up there.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that word. Lovely.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Byron. I think being transparent, being authentic, and just being yourself, beautiful. I know that this relationship ideology is a lot on Oprah Winfrey show as well, and the one thing when I was watching those shows, what came up for me is also intimacy, that word intimacy that a lot of us shy away from. Maria, it was quite interesting, and I was very smiling because I read what you said somewhere, that I will help you ignite the fire within, the one that remains elusive. And I know that you were not talking about the butterflies in the tummy, or the word forever yours. But what I'm trying to get is that intimacy is so important. What do you guys, and intimacy is not just, like I said, it's not the physical aspect of it. What, Maria, can couples do to fuel the sacred, intimate spaces in a relationship? Spaces.
You're right. There is a sometimes misconception about what intimacy is and what it isn't.
Mhm.
And when you think of a 20 something year old or 30 something year teenager, even, their thought of intimacy is completely different than
Yeah.
what you will grow into in a relationship. So when you have a long term relationship, your intimacy deepens
Mm.
and in ways you never anticipated it doing. And we're so fortunate because we have been together so long that we are able to be here for each other, to hold spaces that you would not have imagined. And that's what glues a couple together, is by being supportive and intimate with each other. When
Mhm.
you're able to be there for the one another,
Right.
take the
Right.
time and understand, we are getting older.
Mm.
And as you get older, so people who are younger are listening to this, likely people even in their 20s through their 30s and 40s, their needs are going to be completely different than as they age. And
Mm.
when we, as a nurse, when we see people aging, we are considerate of how that looks as somebody gets into a geriatric years. The
Mm.
thing I want to say to people is live each day as it is. And
Mm.
if you're able to let go of expectations, oh, this is how it's going to be, this is how it has to be,
Right.
and learn that your intimacy grows and deepens through the years, and allow those changes to happen and be open and
Mm,
speak about them together as a couple. I think that's probably something that's helped us a great deal.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And one of the things, without going into details, I would say that what younger people, 20, 30, even 40-year-olds, cannot understand until they have become a little older is that the physical relationship is a very, very important thing. I won't dispute that.
Mm-hmm.
But what they might not believe is that as that starts to go away, the intimacy gets better.
Yeah.
And I can't really even define how that is, but it does. It gets better. And I know a lot of people wouldn't believe that, but it's true it's certainly true for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that sacred, intimate space that you both share. I think it's so nice because a lot of time, and I say this in all honesty, some people say, oh, you can just make love just looking at each other. So it's not about the physical aspect. It's about being cherished. It's about being nourished. And it can truly be measured by the actions, right? And I think just when you can be weird together, you can be weird together. That's beautiful. Now, when I hear you both, uh, Brian Wise's "Only Love is Real" really pops up for me, and I think about soulmate reunions. Uh, and I think for me, Mariah and Byron, it's about moving from selfishness to giving, and not having the relationship being about control, right? So now that you're such good friends and you have these intimate spaces, do you even believe in the ideation of soulmates?
Well, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what you call yourselves? Like you found your
Yes.
soulmate?
Yes, I would not dispute that definition for us. No, we are soulmates, and that's one of the reasons when people ask us how long we've been together, we commonly say forever because
Yes.
it sounds some people would dismiss this as silly or ridiculous, but I
Oh,
don't. I mean, well, I feel like we have been together forever. We bond. That's all we did.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I think, isn't it beautiful that you recognize your soul and then your soul allows you to recognize your soulmate, right?
Sure.
Uh, yeah, and Maria, you said something so beautifully earlier. You said you don't know anything about yourself, and then you don't know who you are. So it's very important to know your own mind, what drives you crazy. Uh, and I think you talk about this quite a fair bit, right? You said you're your best advocate, so your mind is responsible for your bondage. How do you take that into a relationship? For that, what is the best relationship advice would you have for our listeners?
I think being true to yourself and
Mm,
being able to be open and honest, as we've talked about, because if you can't do that with yourself, it's going to be very difficult to do that with another person. So
mm,
I'm fortunate because Byron and I have such a strong relationship, as he said, that we feel like we've been together forever, that it seems impossible to me. I really can't imagine what a life would be without him here because he's my better half.
that's so gallant. That's beautiful that you say. In India right now, with a lot of women becoming very emancipated, Maria, when you introduce a couple in a party, in a dinner party, and when someone says, "Oh, he's my better half," I think there's a lot of resistance. And so it's beautiful that you say that so effortlessly, because women here in India are demanding that you say, here is my other half who completes me. I think that's another beautiful way of saying it, right?
I like that. My
The
other half who
yeah, that's right.
completes
Who
me.
completes me?
I
Yeah,
might,
I like
I
that
might
too.
have to
Yeah,
adopt that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that really, that does say
Yeah, we
it.
might just adopt that and use it. Yeah,
It does.
it
It
does.
Yes.
does.
Your next book. Your next
There we
book.
go.
There you go. Sure, sure.
Yeah, the other half who completes me. Oh my God, that's a lovely title. Please remember me when you use that. Oh, wonderful. Byron, what is your best relationship advice before we go into the funky and quirky spaces of the rapid fire round? What would you
Okay.
like to tell our listeners?
Well, I don't want to get real practical about things, but I guess I would say try and be aware of your partner's stylistic differences because everybody has a style, the way they do things,
Mhm.
the way they address problems and issues, the way they speak, what's important to them, what isn't, their values we talked about. And just educate yourself as much as possible about that real person in there and their stylistic differences because everybody's going to have differences. I'll give
Yeah.
you an example. When we're in the kitchen together, Mariah is a keeper outer and I'm a putter awayer. And I'm sure I drive her crazy with that because as soon as she's done with something, I put it away. And
Or he
so
thinks that I'm done with
if I think she is, she may not be done. So
Right.
being aware of those tiny, even the little things, because it's often comes down to the really small things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like peeling an orange or deboning a piece of meat. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for contributing. So vital for our cozy spaces in their relationship. Thank you so, so much for that. Really, really, it's been beautiful. It's practical, and I love your synergy. And God bless you both. And may you find each other in many, many lifetimes. Right? Uh,
That's right.
Yes, and if I have the opportunity to mention the book again here,
yes, I was just going to
Journey Where
say,
You Are More
how
Than
may
Enough.
others find you in your book?
Yeah, well, they can go to our website, which is mariahedgington.com.
Mhm.
That's the first place to start. And when folks get to our website, they will find the book, a guidebook. They will find a gratitude journal, and
Lovely.
there is also an online course that follows the book. So a
Oh,
lot of resources there.
oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I can't wait to get my hands on your book. I'm sure that is absolutely, oozing of your wisdom and your experiences together. So thank you. And let's get right into a lighter mood, the rapid fire round, quirky, spontaneous answers. So if you're ready, should we go with the first one?
Okay.
Sure, go for it.
All right, let's go for it. All right. So you could, both of you, pitch in together your own thoughts on this question spontaneously together. Would you rather be loved, respected, or admired?
Yes.
Yes.
No, 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 no. We're not allowed to be greedy here. No, it's an option. Would you rather be loved, A, respected, B, or admired, C?
Respected.
Respected, for
Oh,
sure.
wonderful. Still
Yeah.
synergy here. It's quite interesting, when you come up with different things. Again, we're allowed to because those are our values, right? So, so again, individual answers. Would you rather that your partner was funny, seductive, smart, or nurturing?
Ooh, that's
I'd
interesting.
say
Yeah.
nurturing.
I was going to go with nurturing too.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I guess I will have to tap into another couple to find the word seductive come up in that answer. Now, if you're the third one for you both, if you're having a bad day, would you want each one of you to A, leave you alone or spend time with you and cheer you up? Which one would you take?
Oh boy, I'm going to have to say I need a little space initially.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
And Byron?
I'd say the same thing. I want to be left alone, but not for very long.
Okay. I like that. I love this communication, deep communication, just setting the stage right there. Oh, thank you for that honesty. So please answer this one with a yes or no. Celebrating Valentine's Day is corny. Yes or no?
Is corny?
Is corny?
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yes.
Well, I guess I have grandkids, so I'm going to say no, they got to
Okay.
celebrate it.
And like you said just before the show, you celebrate it every single month.
That's right.
We
So
celebrate our anniversary every month. Is right.
yes, so love is in the air, guys. Okay,
right.
the last one. Would you rather me cook you breakfast in bed or a candlelight dinner?
Candlelight dinner for me.
Candlelight dinner, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. If one of you had said one or the other, you would have gotten both. I mean, that's
That's
something
right.
That's
Okay.
right. Should have said yes on that one.
you would have had a breakfast in bed tomorrow, Byron. Do you realize that?
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, well. Oh well.
Well, thank you both. That's it. How did that feel?
Feels wonderful. Thank you
Yes.
for inviting us again, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, and I can see in your expressions and your questions that you have a wonderful relationship as well. And
Oh,
that's
thank
very
you. Thank you.
excellent.
Thank you so much. I'm in my second innings. So I think by the time you arrive at a second relationship in your life, you're a little bit more sensitive. You put in a little bit more of thought process and just allow yourself to be. So I resonated beautifully with all that you said. And before we say bye to our wonderful supportive audience, I'd like to say this to everyone. A beautiful quote by Angelita Lim, and it says, I saw that you were perfect, so I loved you. Then I saw that you were not perfect, and I loved you even more. I
Yeah.
love that. And so join me, Mariah and Byron, to say bye to all our global audience till we meet again. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, and journey well.
Thank you so much.